So moving on, the first one is the identifying the marketing problem. First, you should be clear about what is your problem. Here it has been represented here that does research provide information to the marketing manager? So that's the market research. Market manager uses the data or the analysis or the inferences that he got from the research to solve his marketing problem. He has to solve the marketing problem. So here one example, if your sale of beauty cream is going, what is your problem? How will you put your problem? So is it due to the product not liked? So anything to do with the product, or is it a preference shift taking towards the competition, or does competition, consumers have found some other alternative. So while you define your problem, it is not beauty sale falling and do the research. It is like you must specify what is the problem or what area of the problem that you want research agency to probe. Next is an important phase is an objective. So objective is two classification, general objective and a specific objective. Objective emerge from your set marketing problem. Once you have defined your problem correctly, the main objective will come in. Okay. So you have general objective, which is a example is the problem is identifying low utilization for child welfare. Suppose the problem is why the child welfare fund is low utilized, then the objective could be that you study what is the reason why people don't come to the child welfare association or the child welfare clinic. So you have one is from the main problem, you derive what you call a general objective. That is something that you want an answer on. That is what something you want research to address. However, it can be sliced into specific objectives. So this main objective may consist of certain other sub-objectives. This sub-objective has to be still aligned with the problem, still aligned with the main objective. It cannot be distinctly different. So they are all in alignment. So one need to form a good problem with a very clear aspect as to what needs to be probed. Then form your form your general objective, which is a broad objective, which is what the research has to address. It may have a specific objective, which is slicing of the general objective, but they have to align with the general objective and the marketing problem. It cannot be a distinctly different objective being set suddenly out of the blue. So you are studying about why the beauty cream sale is falling. You can't have a sub objective saying that the advertising effectiveness. I'm just trying to help you to understand. This is a secondary data. Don't worry about being complicated, but it's like a published, readily available data from any external sources is collected towards the problem that you are trying to understand. Now, while you do that, there are certain aspects that one need to remember. That is what is out here. Okay, so is my data helpful? Is it for the specific period? Is it among the specific target group that I am looking at? Does it have an authenticity of a data, the methodology, who's conducted this, how old it is? So will it stand in today's time also? So these are some of the aspects that one look at it. When you receive a secondary data, it is meant to even analyze for the problem that you have in mind. Many times what happens, secondary data, and when they are inferred upon, you may get an answer to your problem. If you do not get an answer, then you move forward. As I told you here, do you get sufficient insight? If yes, prepare a report. But if no, you go forward. Okay. So that's what one does it out here. So that's the significance of secondary report. It is available to you from many sources. So I'm not getting into it. Then comes, you have a need to conduct a primary research. In that case, the research design will come. So research design will consist of, you have either a research which is quantitative in nature or a qualitative in nature. So your research design will have to determine for addressing this as a problem, whether you need a qualitative research or a quantitative research. Qualitative is to do with the mind, behavior, psychographic, psychology, personality, etc. Then it's a qualitative. A quantitative is to do with something, what percentage shift in my price this thing will possible without affecting my demand. So then that's a quantitative. Or what is the age, in the teenager, how many percentage of people will prefer my product? So again, it's a quantitative in nature. What is the demand estimate for my product among the teenagers of India? So again, a quantitative research. So designing a primary research, the quantitative part, and if it's a quantitative research, then there are types of quantitative research. That is what has been out mentioned here: observation method, for experimentation method, and survey method. We will study them, but I will just to give you, you observe a behavior. That's an observation. Behavior of a consumer in real life, or behavior of a consumer in a created environment, as the case may be. So that's a observation of the consumers. A created environment is a more an experiment. You are doing a laboratory experiment. Okay. You may do it also in the market. Experiment may be also in the market, wherein in different shop, different types of offer, different shop, different types of products have been put, etc. To you see that. So where things are moving, different copy matter, different offers, etc. Survey method. It's a using of a questionnaire to get the customers to respond. So these are the three methods under research design. Under the qualitative, you have things like in-depth interviews, the focus group interviews or focus group discussion, FGD as it is known as, and a projective technique, which is a kind of a technique which enables you to allow consumer to project something. From there you derive your inferences. So we will get into understanding some of them a little better. So what is observation method? Remember, we are studying the third phase of research design. Under research design, there's a process step research design. Under that, quali, as this thing as I told you. And in the quantitative, there are three methods. One is the observational research method. The best way to gain the observational insight about how the consumer behavior is to see them in real life, see them in real situation when they are actually buying a product. So under this method, observations are made. Observations are made of a consumer behavior at a particular counter. Now, observations are made either in person or through a camera recording, or as the case may be, or there are eye tracking instruments also, etc. But this is what you observe a consumer and derive an inferences. Okay. Naturally, it is more appropriate to observe consumer in any store instead of asking him about what brand he purchases, why he purchases, etc. at his house, or outside is the shop, etc. So that's a crux of the observation method. There are 8 classifications of the observation methods that we need to understand. So we just discussed about that there are 8 classifications. So what are they? So let's understand natural versus contrived. So natural surroundings versus what you do it in a setup surrounding. That is one way of looking at disguise versus undisguised. Disguised is you do not reveal to the consumer that he or she is under observations, and undisguised is like you convey to consumers that you are under observation. So that way it is known to them and they do it, and you try and get the observations done. Structured versus unstructured. Here it is like you have the ability, or rather you do it in such a way that consumer moves in a very structured way of his natural purchase cycle, while the unstructured is like you try to just allow the natural things to happen and then you derive your message. Direct versus indirect, in the sense there is a specific objective for which there is a direct this thing is possible. So selection of the product, how it is happening. So here the consumer comes and asks for the brand and that has been given to the consumer, or consumer may ask for a brand but the salesman offers, madam ye bhi hai iske sath, which one choose, yani this is acha, this is better, etc. And then whether in that case also consumer says ki nahi mujhe wo hi chahiye वगैरह. So that way you try to do a direct versus indirect approach, etc. Human versus mechanical. Human is involved, where only person observes things and makes his noting, etc. Mechanical is like there is a camera, there is an eye reader, etc. In a shopping mall or in a shopping rack, behind there is a camera. So consumer looking at this, etc. are captured, and accordingly they know that they looked at more at this shampoo or this product, etc. This category of product, etc. So that way, so these are the classifications. Not to spend much onto it. An advantage of this observation research, it does not rely on respondent's willingness. It is like respondent is in a natural surrounding and he's been observed. Respondent is not like agreeing. Yes, in a direct or in a undisguised this thing, respondent's this thing may be taken. bias is minimized or reduced because you are allowing the natural things to happen. Last but not the least, an observation method allows capturing behavior. Behavior is captured in the most natural surrounding. Therefore, it is supposedly more realistic. Of course, there are limitations to this research method. It doesn't capture psychographic, etc., awareness, belief, preferences, etc. So those aspects which are more to the character and the mind are not being captured in this. Inability to observe intimate details. Yani. The selection is a result of various factors. Now, you are not able to really see that intimate this thing when customer looked at the product, whether he looked at the calorie chart or whether he looked at the product ingredients, etc. You may not be able to such kind of thing. Additionally, it can capture observation at a specific location based. Now this reading in this particular location surrounding may not be realistic, may not be right for other locations, or done on a limited population. Presumption is that it is applicable to a larger population. That also may not be right. Costly method because you have to really plan. You have to compensate the retailer. You have to literally have more shops, etc., to cover, and also as a result, it's only done for a very real need scenario, or a new product, really a new product which has a high stake involved, etc. So then next is the experiential research method. Experiential research method, here the sale is a result of many marketing variables. So marketing variable has an impact on the sale taking place. Experiential research allows you to determine which variable has a larger impact. So it could be product design, campaign design, it could be campaign offer, price, etc. So these are the variables, the promotion that has been offered, etc. You try to manipulate one variable. Keeping other variable at same time. Okay, now when you do that, it offers you an opportunity. Now this will be launched at a multi-location, multi-shops, say in Ghatkopar and surrounding area, you have kept price lower while everything else is same. However, in say Pedder Road and in say Mahalakshmi area, you have priced price higher, and then you try to observe things. Now this will tell you that does the price have any impact on the product purchase or not. Or you put a different copy in Ghatkopar area, different copy or the offer in the Mahalakshmi area, and try and see which offer is working more. So that way it's an experiential research. So it will help you to determine the most appealing variable. So which variable? So also you can have a multiple variable studied, and from there you can determine which is the most powerful variable that has an impact on consumer selection. So say one variable, if I take packaging design. So same market, you introduce different outlet, you different packaging designs you do, and the sales performance will be therefore monitored. So does the packaging design have any impact on the product selection or the rejection? So it's the most useful during test marketing. So concept marketing, test marketing, etc. Do this kind of a research. So we are studying the advantage. Data accuracy also is one important advantage. While the variables tend to change, however, the data collected in relation to the variable is more realistic. So the accuracy of the data is high. There are limitations. It can only study the current behavior. Means it is a reflection of the current behavior. It cannot be generalized as a general behavior. It also costly, and this particular experiential method is also costly, complex, time consuming, requires sufficient time to really create this experiment. You need to give a time for this experiment, etc.